This is Tor Matthews, and this is a video footage from the recent 2.6.3 Arena Commander tournament from the Toucan perspective. These are the two games we lost. I forgot to record the first round of the one that's playing now. I also recorded the Flamingos match, but Lendy carried me through that one, and my aim was awful, so I didn't want to post it. Let's just forget that one. I forgot the others. Recording is usually last priority while you're, playing the tournament. Sometimes you just forget. I also messed up the audio recording, which is why I decided to just talk over it, which is preferable to there just being no sound at all, I guess. First thing, it was incredible amounts of fun. It kind of came at the perfect time in the game as well. It's still not perfect, and I'll get into that, but the streamers did a great job. Didn't do really much for people who knew about the game a bit better, but people who were newer or knew nothing about Star Citizen really seemed to enjoy the presentation. Obviously, it wasn't perfect, but stream issues are obvious. I would have liked to see Templar again commentating, or someone on the panel who needs has a more in-depth knowledge perspective. The actual officials and refs were well-oiled machine. The whole setup, Chief Gully, Malagos did their prep very thoroughly. It's pretty obvious. Went very smoothly inside the games. So I want to get the issues before I talk about the rounds, weapons, various other stuff. And before I get into the issues section, I want to make it very clear. Everyone who went into this tournament knew there were issues. All of us knew that what we were signing up for, exactly what the game is like. There's no, we would have won if something didn't break. Like, our shields were going invulnerable the whole tournament. I can move out of the way a lot, but there are times when I should definitely have taken damage, and I didn't. And you might be able to see in these videos that I'm missing a lot, even with gimbals against Yannik and Singa. They're very excellent pilots, and they don't need help from bugs to win. Anyway, you might be able to tell from what the clips that have been playing. As I said, I miss a lot, but there are a lot of times when I do hit, and they don't receive any damage. This is due to an issue with the front shields going invulnerable. Now, this is some people seem to think that this is an issue with desync. Like, there's an issue where you have to lead a bit more depending on the latency of whoever you're fighting, and that's a completely different issue in most cases. This issue, you can actually, if you use ballistics, you can damage someone's nose, and their shields won't take damage, even though you're shooting their nose. You can chain their nose down, and it won't take damage from it. And in practice with Lundy, we spar for many hours, and by the time like a few days before this, we did a lengthy sparring session, and over many hours, and almost every game, either one or both of us had the shield bug going. It goes on and off, like depending on how you move during the fight. So it's not like as soon as you stop, you're instantly hittable again. But depending on your movement, it's nearly impossible to deal damage to your frontal shields. It could be like the shields moving inside you or something. Don't really know what the cause is, but like 90% of the time Lundy and I sparred, we would have this issue. He would chain hit me, he'd send me the video, I wouldn't take any damage, and in the video he'd clearly be hitting my nose every time. Then he'd shoot my wing off, and it would be accurate, it would work. There would be no weird lag, but he'd hit my wing, it'd come off, but frontal shields, nope. And we actually spoke to Singa and Yannik briefly after the tournament, and it's kind of funny. They actually have the same exact issue in their sparring sessions. Yannik and Singa, when they're sparring with each other, they seem to have the same issue. Like, I'm the one who usually goes invulnerable against Lundy when we're sparring, and Singa seems to go invulnerable against Yannik a lot of the time. So I'm wondering if it's something to do with flight style, could be latency, could be a combination of all these things. Not really sure. But hitting someone from the back, that works fine. As you can see here, I'm doing plenty of damage, even though I'm missing. So yeah, that's the shield bug in a nutshell. It's kind of depressing when you look at the forum. Sometimes there's mega threads on seemingly silly things, and then you get my thread about the shield bug got like 10 replies. It's kind of funny. don't think CIG looks at threads based on replies or the issue council post that was linked inside of it, but still. So on to the next stuff. There's only a few other critical issues, really. I mean, there are a bunch of them, but from the competition perspective, I didn't get any buggy GeForce blackouts. All my blackouts are pretty much my fault this time, although in coupled mode there's definitely issues with GeForce right now. I don't think those exist with decoupled mode so much right now. It kind of depends on, especially with GSafe on, because right now you can black out with GSafe on, and that's it's definitely not the intended behavior. And there's the cockpit kills. Lundy got cockpit killed twice. That's when the bullet phases through your ship and then takes out the pilot. None of those rounds where he got cockpit killed, we actually lost the round, so that's good. But it's still an issue. I don't want to bring up any issues really in this discussion, but one thing that would really be nice for pretty much everyone: control options. There's no mouse sensitivity setting. Period. There's an exponent, and if you use a mouse exponent, you're an idiot. There's no discussion there. So that there's a bunch of things, missing settings, control issues. The settings menu, we have to use the user.cfg for most things. Kind of sucks, but that's kind of minor things compared to the first thing I mentioned, which is just ships going invulnerable. At least with the cockpit kills, you when you die, you don't see it coming. With the shield bug, say you're in a 1v1, you're in a close game, and it's like, oh well, I can't hit his front shields. I gotta push the G's, get behind him, and black out. And that's my excuse for blacking out a couple times. That's what I'm going with. Anyways, weapon choice. I noticed the streamers were a bit surprised that we used M4As, and actually I was a bit surprised that we didn't see other people using them. I actually got the idea to use them from some of the RS people, specifically Malagos. A couple patches back, there was a 4v4 tournament, and I think they're very effective in a team context because of their spread and range. You can stay at much larger distance without worrying about spread, because if you're using the Badgers, either you stay right on them or you don't do much damage. Like you can see in this video how much trouble I have staying on Yannik. He this is as close as I can get without him just flying past me. See there. Very evasive pilots, and that lets you help your teammate from a longer distance. You can deliver more damage on target, and the damage you do on target will be focused into one area because you have better accuracy. And one other thing I'm noticing in this video is targeting. It'd be really nice to have at least a pinned target solution that actually works. Some sort of free flight team setup. I think Star Marine has that. We could use that too. I'm a decoupled pilot mainly. Lundy is a coupled pilot for the time being. We for the tournament at least. We can also fly fixed, not as well. So we kind of wanted to demonstrate that the mouse could still be used in the tournament, since it's a little bit lame to see that no one wants to see a game where you need to invest in hundreds of dollars of joysticks, pedals, and shit to be competitive. I think we proved that to anyone who wants to use a mouse and keyboard, that you can be competitive, very competitive with gimbals. You can definitely be competitive with fixed. That's not no question. But with gimbals, you can definitely push the limits. You just need a very good understanding of the angles, the games. You need to play to your benefits, and that's one thing I'll talk about. With gimbals, what you want to do is generally you have the angle advantage, but you can't just rely on that. You need to constantly push your target, really. You can't just a lot of fixed pilots, what I see them do, like even fairly good pilots, they kind of just go into a circle turn war. Yannik and Singa don't do that in this video. They're very evasive. They know how to evade third parties, but some of the other pilots we faced, the fixed pilots, they have to rely on their damage output to win, but that doesn't mean you can't evade. You have to continue, evading as you deal your superior damage. You can't just go into a circle war and expect to win. Not just against gimbal pilots, but against other fixed pilots, because they will beat you. I got some mouse and keyboard stuff. Might as well mention that here. When you're using mouse and keyboard, your main disadvantage is lack of analog strafe, which if you're flying fixed is a pretty big bonus, because if you're flying dual stick, you are aiming mostly with your left stick, to be honest. Like, sure, your orientation of your ship is with your right stick, but the left stick controls where your ship is in space, and obviously that's very important to getting a good target and getting those final few millimeters of accuracy when you need them. And with the mouse and keyboard, you have much better gimbal accuracy. Obviously, the joystick gimbal mode is implemented very roughly and it has no options. It doesn't work with ESP. It's not competitive. Hopefully CIG fixes that at some point. I don't want to get into balance issues. Stay away from the balance issues. But one thing I didn't see any of the pilots using is decoupled mode, which is a little bit odd. I suppose it makes sense because most dual stick pilots don't really need decoupled mode, because their left stick will correlate directly to the direction of their flight, whereas in mouse and keyboard, decoupled mode helps you get those inner speeds where otherwise you get to like half strafe speed, and then your IFCS, if you let go, will force you back to 0 on that axis, and that makes you predictable. It makes you lowers your options, and it also often blacks you out, because with GSafe off, and you need to be flying with GSafe off at this kind of level, you need to not black out, and if your IFCS is doing that to you, it's no fun. Now, one thing I didn't mention before with the M4As is that the way you aim them is different from Badgers. With Badgers, you want to track your targets. You got to keep your cursor over the target continuously, and this goes for fixed and gimbaled. There are weapons, that's single shot, and weapons that you track with. The M4As allow you to, pick your shots, be very careful about how you decide to approach a target. You can juke in between your shots, which I'm not doing here because I'm chasing Yannik, but yeah, usually you have to, like in a duel, you're going to be juking in between your shots, and that helps because you can move your nose out of the way for a moment and then put it back on target. It works with fixed too. Like the glaive is a great example of this. You don't need to track with the glaive. You can get that drag over shot. You can drag your nose over the enemy target and unleash those size 5 plasma cannons and then deal tons of damage. Now this is also a downside because with the Badgers you have a constant feedback of whether you're hitting or not. So with the M4As you can't just rely on that. You can use it, but it's not as bad as the Omnis. But you have to rely on that constant feedback from the Badgers usually, and with the M4As you don't have that. You have to know where you're hitting and pay attention. This is nearing the end of the first round here. I remember blacking out in this 2v1 situation. Yeah, it's tough when you're fighting a player like this with the shield invulnerability thing, because you can see me trying my hardest to get around his back so I can deal damage to him, but that results in a blackout in the end. And I'm sure that, look, they're clearly having the same issue with me, so it's not it's not like it different necessarily if that wasn't an issue. Just next time, hopefully it's fixed. Yeah, and there's the blackout. I guess I should mention the first match that got streamed. I saw that one. I don't think Malagos and Porky expected much from us, so I think we took them completely off guard. We were kind of surprised ourselves that we were managing to keep up with them. Yeah. I think that's pretty much all I have to comment on. So as the second match here begins, yeah, I got killed extremely fast at the first. That's what happens when the shields work properly. That's how fast I die. Anyways, if you listened, thanks for listening, I guess. And I'll leave you to the silence.